1925, a whaling ship, the Antarctic Ocean. The crew has just killed a sperm whale, massive, deep-diving, solitary. They begin processing the carcass, opening the stomach, looking for ambergris, anything of value. Inside, they find something that has no name. 2 enormous arms, unlike anything in the squid literature, unlike the giant squid that sailors had been reporting for 4 centuries. These arms are thick, muscular, lined with what look like rotating hooks rather than suction cups. Not passive grip structures, not the standard cephalopod apparatus. Something different, something that had evolved separately for a different purpose. The whaler sketches them. A naturalist named G.C. Robson examines the specimens. He publishes a paper the following year, names it Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni, middle claw squid, files it away, and then nothing happens for 78 years. Not entirely nothing. In those 78 years, more arms turn up in more stomachs. Isolated beaks, hard, parrot-like jaw structures, show up in the gut contents of sperm whales in quantities that suggest something is down there in real numbers. In the 1970s, Soviet research vessels working Antarctic waters pull up partial specimens. A mantle fragment here, a detached tentacle there. Enough pieces to confirm the animal is real, not enough to understand what it is. The colossal squid exists for most of the 20th century as a rumor held together by stomach contents. A name on a page, a creature that has never been seen alive, never been studied whole, never been confirmed as anything more than a theory assembled from fragments. Until 2007. Before we get to 2007, we need to talk about the error. The giant squid, Architeuthis dux, up to 13 meters long, possibly 750 kilograms, the Kraken's biological candidate. The animal sailors reported for 4 centuries in the North Atlantic, tentacles breaking the surface, a body mass that seemed to defy what nature could build. Jules Verne wrote it into 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in 1870. The same year, actual giant squid specimens began washing ashore in Newfoundland in unusual numbers, possibly pushed up by trawling, possibly by some atmospheric event that disturbed deep water. For the first time, scientists had something to examine. The giant squid was real. The deep had yielded a monster. The problem was what that confirmed, that the Kraken legend had a source, and that source was the giant squid. Case closed. The largest cephalopod on Earth had been found. Mystery solved. The giant squid is not the largest squid on Earth. When those whaling arms turned up in 1925, scientists assumed variant. A larger giant squid specimen. Something in the same family, probably. The naming, Mesonychoteuthis rather than Architeuthis, acknowledged a distinction, but not the full scale of the difference. What they missed was that the colossal squid isn't a bigger version of anything. The body plan is different. The mantle, the main body mass, is shorter and broader than the giant squids, but denser, heavier per centimeter. The hunting strategy is different. The evolutionary history is separate. The anatomy is more extreme in every dimension. Naming something giant before you know what else lives in the deep is a mistake the ocean keeps punishing. The giant squid is built for active pursuit, fast muscles, streamlined body, aggressive hunting through the open water column. The colossal squid is built for something else entirely, for patience, for waiting, for existing in a world where moving is a waste of energy you don't have. These are different solutions to the same problem. Survive in the dark. February 2007, Ross Sea, near Antarctica. A New Zealand fishing vessel called the San Aspiring is running long lines for Antarctic toothfish at around 2,200 meters depth, nearly a mile and a half below where sunlight penetrates. One of the lines surfaces with something wrapped around it. The crew photographs it, tries to preserve it, doesn't entirely understand what they have. They know it's a squid, they know it's enormous, they freeze it, partially, and report it to the New Zealand Ministry of Fisheries. What arrives in Christchurch 8 months later, after a full thaw, full examination, 7 scientists in the room, is the first near-complete adult Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni in human history. Length, 10 meters, weight 495 kilograms. To be clear about what 495 kilograms means in context, the largest giant squid ever reliably measured was approximately 275 kilograms. The SAN-aspiring specimen is nearly twice that weight. An adult lion is around 190 kilograms. This squid weighed more than 2.5 adult lions. It is the heaviest invertebrate ever recorded on Earth. No insect, no crustacean, no mollusk has ever been verified to weigh this much. This is the furthest the invertebrate body plan has ever been pushed. The scientists expected giant squid, only larger. The weight was the first surprise. The eyes were the second. Start with the eyes. 27 centimeters in diameter, the size of a dinner plate. The largest eyes of any living animal on Earth, vertebrate or invertebrate. An elephant's eye is roughly 5 centimeters across. A blue whale's eye is roughly 15 centimeters. A sperm whale's, the deep-diving predator that hunts this animal, is about 27 centimeters. The colossal squid has eyes as large as the animal that eats it. The colossal squid lives in total darkness between 1,000 and 2,200 meters deep. The pressure there is 100 to 220 times what you feel on the surface. The temperature hovers just above freezing. There is no sunlight at any point in any day. The only light that exists at those depths is the light living creatures produce themselves. Those eyes don't just collect light, they generate it. The colossal squid has photophores, light-producing organs, built into the eye itself. In the absolute darkness of the deep, it creates its own illumination. It can detect bioluminescent flashes from prey, the involuntary light burst many deep-sea animals produce when disturbed, from distances that would be invisible to any other predator at that depth. It hunts by light it makes, and by light its prey cannot help but emit. Now, the arms. Giant squid have suction cups, the standard cephalopod apparatus, circular muscle rings that create negative pressure and grip. Colossal squid have suction cups and rotating hooks, chitin hooks that swivel 360 degrees at the base. They extend, they retract, they cut into prey with the mechanical precision of a surgical instrument. On the two longer club arms, the tentacles used to strike prey, the hooks are arranged in a double row at the widest section, alternating orientation, so that no matter how the prey twists, something is cutting into it. Look at a colossal squid arm under magnification, and what you see is not just a tentacle. It is a cutting tool, a gripping tool, a disassembly mechanism. Each arm is purpose-built for holding, tearing, and stripping. The beak is parrot-shaped, upper and lower mandibles of pure chitin, the same material as insect exoskeletons, hard enough to crack spine, hard enough to penetrate the skull of a mesopelagic fish. The beak sits at the center of the arms, surrounded by a muscular structure called the buccal mass. When the hooks bring prey in, the beak does the work. The flesh itself is saturated with ammonium chloride, the compound in urine. It keeps the animal neutrally buoyant at depth without the gas sac that most buoyancy-dependent fish use. It also makes the flesh taste strongly of ammonia and renders it chemically unpleasant, or outright toxic, to most predators. Sperm whales eat them anyway. That tells you something. The giant squid chases. High metabolism, active pursuit, constant movement through the open water column. The colossal squid does not chase. It hangs in the water column at depth. Enormous eyes watching. Near invisible in the dark, its chromatophores, color-changing cells in the skin, matching the ambient near-zero light around it. The metabolism is extraordinarily slow. In near-freezing water with limited food availability and the energy cost of maintaining a 500-kilogram body, the colossal squid burns almost nothing at rest. When prey enters range, Antarctic toothfish, smaller squid, anything that generates movement, the club tentacles extend at speed, the hooks catch. The grip is immediate and multi-directional. The prey is pulled backward toward the beak. The hooks are still cutting during transit. By the time it reaches the beak, the struggle is already over. This is ambush predation at 2,000 meters depth, executed by the largest invertebrate on Earth. The colossal squid has solved the scarcity problem of the deep ocean not by hunting harder, but by barely moving at all. In an environment where calories are scarce and every movement costs energy, the strategy is conservation. It outlasts the problem rather than fighting it. But don't read this as passive. Sperm whales regularly surface with circular scars across the head and body, deep gouges through blubber and skin, centimeters deep, matching the geometry of colossal squid hooks exactly. Some whales carry dozens of these scars, which means the colossal squid, when a sperm whale dives to take it, does not yield. It grips, it hooks, it fights the largest toothed predator on Earth in absolute darkness at 2,000 meters depth for whatever time it takes the whale to win. The whale won because it was larger and more persistent, not because the squid gave up. The hooks were still rotating while the whale was trying to swallow it. Here is the honest situation. We have caught one near-complete adult Mesonecoteuthis hamiltoni in human history. 1. The beaks found inside sperm whale stomachs tell a different story about scale. Hard jaw structures accumulate in the whale's gut as it digests everything else. The beaks remain identifiable, measurable. The beaks recovered from sperm whale stomachs are, in many cases, significantly larger than the beak of the 2007 specimen, considerably larger, which means the 495-kilogram, 10-meter individual we caught was not a fully grown adult. The full-grown adult colossal squid may reach 12 to 14 meters, possibly larger. We haven't caught one. We don't know how many there are. We don't know how long they live. We don't know how they reproduce. No mating pair has ever been observed. We don't know their full geographic range, though Antarctic waters appear to be the primary habitat. We don't know the population dynamics, the life cycle, the typical hunting territory. The IUCN classification for Mesonecoteuthis hamiltoni is data deficient. That is the official scientific position. Not vulnerable, not endangered, not least concern. Data deficient. Scientist language for, we don't know if this animal is common or rare, thriving or collapsing. We don't have enough information to say anything definitive about whether it needs protection or not. There is an animal, the heaviest invertebrate on Earth, living in Earth's oceans right now, that we have officially categorized as something we barely understand. The ocean we think we know ends at about 200 meters. That's where sunlight penetrates, where diving and submarine cables and research buoys and most of our ocean monitoring operates. The colossal squid lives at 2,000. The space between 200 meters and the seafloor, roughly 3.8 kilometers on average, is functionally still unmapped, still unknown, larger in volume than all the land surface of Earth combined. We find the animals that live there by accident, in fishing nets, in whale stomachs, occasionally washed ashore. Not by looking for them. Our knowledge of deep-sea megafauna is built almost entirely on things that died and ended up somewhere we could find them. What lives and dies down there without ever surfacing? We don't know. We probably won't know for a very long time. The Kraken legends come from sailors who saw something. They were wrong about what it did. No squid has ever wrapped tentacles around a ship and dragged it under. But they were right about what they felt. That the ocean contained something vast, something that didn't operate on the same scale as anything they'd named. The colossal squid is the ocean's answer to the legend, not because it can sink ships, but because it represents the absolute limit of what invertebrate life can become, the largest body without a backbone ever confirmed on Earth. The apex of a completely separate evolutionary path, one that diverged from the vertebrate line hundreds of millions of years ago and went somewhere entirely different. Eyes the size of a sperm whale's, hooks on rotating bearings, an immune system built around ammonia, a metabolism so slow it can outlast almost anything in its environment. It is alive right now, in the Ross Sea, in waters too cold and dark and pressurized for most life to function, hanging in the water column at 2,000 meters, eyes open, waiting. The next time a sperm whale surfaces near Antarctica with fresh circular scars across its head, the gouges still bleeding, the hook's geometry visible in the wounds, it means an encounter happened, in the dark, at crushing depth. between two animals, each of which is among the most extreme on Earth. The whale surfaced. The squid didn't. But the squid fought. The legend will persist as long as humans exist because it is pointing at something true. Not at a monster that drags ships under, at the fact that the ocean is not ours, that most of it has never been seen, that the largest animals in it, the ones at the furthest extreme of what evolution can build, are still being found by accident, still being classified as data deficient, still yielding surprises to scientists who thought they understood the inventory. The colossal squid is the most extreme invertebrate on Earth. We have seen it in its complete form once. The legend is incomplete not because the colossal squid isn't real, it's incomplete because we still don't fully understand what the real thing is.